The Vedas and Tantra are the integral scriptures of Hinduism. While most Hindus seem to be aware of the Vedas and the Smritis, the knowledge of Tantra is somewhat restricted to a smaller circle. Let us start with a brief introduction to the Vedas. The entire universe is reverberating. When there is reverberation, there is sound. In other words, the entire cosmos is simply a manifestation of sound energy. The ancient Vedic sages, through penance, were able to download cosmic data or cosmic truths directly. They received cosmic truths in the form of sounds which serve as the cosmic blueprint. These truths were recited as envisioned and passed on generations after generations, which gave rise to the ocean of Vedas. While the Vedas were perceived as a series of sounds or mantras that embody the cosmic truths, the tantric scriptures were revealed by a deity in form. For example, Sadashiva in the context of Shaiva Tantra or Agamas. Agama is another term for Tantra. If we look at the Tirumantiram, you will find parallels between the Vedas and Tantra. Quoting Tirumantiram, the 8th Tantra of the 10th Tirumurai.
வேதமொடு ஆகமம் மெய்யாம் இறைவன் நூல் ஓதும் பொதுவும் சிறப்பும் என்றுள்ளன நாதன் உரையவை நாடில் இரண்டந்தம் பேதமதேன்பர் பெரியோர்க்கு அபேதமே.
In this hymn, the Siddha Tirumular refers to Vedas as Podu and the Agamas as Chirappu. He explains as to how the Vedas serve as a science and the Agamas, on the other hand, as a technology to the mentioned science. In essence, they are both two sides of the same coin. Let us look at an example of how the Tantra or the Agamas serve as a manual to apply the underlying science in the Vedas. I will be using an example from the Yajurveda. In the Taittiriya Aranyakam, we have a reference to the 5 phases of Shiva, namely Satyojata, Vamadeva, Aghora, Tatpurusha and Ishana. This whole segment is colloquially referred to as the Shiva Upasana Mantra or the Shivopasana Mantra of the Yajurveda. So let us look at the mantras. Satyo Jatam Prapadyami Satyo Jataya Vai Namo Namaha Bhave Bhave Nati Bhave Bhavasvamam Bhavodbhavaya Namaha Vamadevaya Namo Jyeshthaya Namah Shreshthaya Namo Rudraya Namah Kalaya Namah Kalavikarnaya Namo Balavikarnaya Namo Balaya Namo Balapramathanaya Namah Sarvabhutadamanaya Namo Manonmanaya Namaha Aghorebhyo Thagorebhyo Ghoraghoraterebhyaha Sarvebhyah Sarvasharvebhyo Namaste Astu Rudrarupebhyah Tatpurushaya Vitmahe Mahadevaya Dhimahi Tanno Rudrah Prachodayat Ishanas Sarvavidyanam Ishvaras Sarvabhutanam Brahmadhipatir Brahmanodhipatir Brahma Shivo Me Astu Sada Shivom. Now let us look at the application of these Vedic mantras in Tantra. We can find a reference in the Vidyapada Raurava Agama in the 6th chapter. Atha Brahmamayam Guhyam Shivakayatma Samsthitam Kalabhedam Pravakshyami Tathrunutvam Yathakramam. These Kala mantras are identical with the divine form of Shiva and they are to be kept secret. So this verse introduces the sadhaka or the aspirant to the truth of the mantric body of Shiva. In Tantra, we refer to the body of the Lord as a Vidya Deha. Vidya here refers to mantras. In the Vedic tradition, knowledge is always parallel with sound energy or mantras. The word Veda itself is derived from the root Vid, from which is derived Vidya, which means knowledge. The Vedas are in the form of mantras. The body of Shiva is referred to as a Mantramaya Sharira. meaning a body which is made up of mantras. Now this links back to the genesis of the Vedas that we looked earlier, seeing that the entire cosmos is a manifestation of sound energy. So very well, when the Lord is the very embodiment of the cosmos, his body is a mantramaya sharira. Now we have another mantra in the tantric scriptures which goes as Satyo jatascha satyascha bhavascha bhava evacha tatha nadi bhavaschaiva bhajasveti bhavot, meaning Satyo jatam Satyo jataya bhava abhava anadi bhava bhajasva bhava and udbhava. These are the 8 kala mantras pertaining to Satyo jata. The 8 kala mantras which are described here are verily taken from the Veda mantra which we saw earlier, which was So from these Veda mantra, we derive the individual sounds and refer to them as the kala mantras which are described in the tantric scriptures. And these individual kala mantras are rarely applied in rituals. Similarly, the Agamas give a breakdown of the mantras pertaining to the other 4 facets of Lord Shiva which was described in the Vedas. For the Vamadeva face, Vamo jyeshthascha rudrascha kalaschaiva kalastatha vikaranascha balaschaiva vikaranotha balastatha pramathotamanaschaiva manaschodmana evacha. The meaning: Vama jyeshtha rudra kala kala vikarana bala vikarana bala pramathana sarvabhuta damana mana unmana. These are the 13 kala mantras pertaining to Vamadeva. So compare this tantric verse with the Yajurvedic Vamadeva mantra and you will find the resemblance. For the Aghora facet, the tantric mantra is Aghorascha ghorascha ghoro ghortarastatha sarvatas sarvarudrascha rupascha hridayam viduhu, meaning Aghora Athaghora Ghora Ghoratara Sarvebhya Sarvasharvebhya Namaste Astu Rudra Rupebhya. These are the 8 kala mantras pertaining to the Aghora Hridaya mantra. For the Tatpurusha facet, Tatpurusho Mahadevo Rudrascheti Prachodayat Chatvaryetani Vaktrani Kalpayen Niyatashuchihi, meaning Tatpurushaya Vitmahe Mahadevaya Dhimahi Tanno Rudraha Prachodayat. These are the 4 kala mantras pertaining to Tatpurusha. Next, finally, for the Ishana mantra, Ishana Ishvaro Brahma Shivascheti Sadashivaha Murdhanam Panchadha Bhitva Shivasya Parikalpayet. Ishanas Sarva Vidyanam Ishvaras Sarva Bhutanam Brahmadhipatir Brahmanodhipatihi Shivo Me Astu Sadashivom. These are the 5 kala mantras pertaining to Ishana. The application. So to apply the knowledge of the Vedas, we use the Agamas or the Tantra. The 5 mantras pertaining to the 5 facets of Shiva, which is described in the Yajurveda, are used to transform our being into that of Shiva. The ultimatum of Tantra is the realization that we are indeed the Lord. Shivoham. In any ritual, we perform the Nyasa, in which we invoke and transform every part of the body into Shiva. Now, how do we use the tantric scriptures to use or utilize the Vedas to energize ourselves? In Shaiva Tantra, an important process known as Sakalikaranam involves the aspirant to first energize his hands to embody the form of Shiva using mantras. And where do we get those mantras from? The answer is given in the breakdown of the Vedic verses we saw earlier. And how do we get the breakdown? That is why the agamic texts exist. So with the energized hands, the aspirant has to then transform each part of his body to attain oneness with Shiva. The Satyojata aspect is related to the lower limbs. The Vamadeva aspect is related to the groin area. The Aghora is related to the heart region. The Tat Purusha mantra relates to the face, and the Ishana mantra with the head. And other tantric mantras are used to then consecrate the upper limbs, chest, and different parts of the head and the armor. Finally, sitting as Shiva himself, the aspirant has to then conduct a ritual, be it a puja or a homa. The tantric mantras, which are verily derived from the Vedas, are also used in Shaiva rituals and pujas. Now we have a different part of the tantric scriptures which give a more intricate detail of the very specific mantras which make up these very specific parts of Sadashiva's mantramaya sharira. For example, Satyojatam prapadyami makes his right foot. Satyojataya vai namaha makes his left foot. Bhava makes his right hand. Abhava makes his left hand. Anadi Bhava makes his nose. Bhajasva makes his head. Bhava makes his right shoulder. And Udbhava makes his left shoulder. Aghore Bhyo makes his heart. Athagore Bhyo makes his neck. Ghora right shoulder. Ghora Tare Bhya makes his left shoulder. Sarve Bhya his navel. Sarva Sarve Bhya his stomach. Namaste Astu Rudra his back. And Rupe Bhya his chest. So like this, we utilize the mantras of the Vedas into a puja. So let us say we want to consecrate or bring life to a kalasha or a deity. Let us say we want to consecrate that deity to manifest Sadashiva. We use this knowledge, so we know what mantras constitute different parts of the body of the Lord that we are invoking. The Vedas present truth as it is, and the tantric scriptures serve as a manual or guide to utilize the Vedas. So, while the Vedas contain the door to enlightenment, the Agamas are the key to it. As you can see, the Vedas and tantric scriptures are really two sides of a common coin.